In the next 2 years, Ukraine is to receive an additional $162.7 billion from the European Union, primarily for military spending. If we were to use this amount to increase competitiveness and at the same time reduce high energy prices, we would all see a visible improvement in the European Union. Of course, the willingness of member states to finance Ukraine's military needs directly from national budgets is already declining even among the biggest military hawks. That is why the appetite for frozen Russian assets in that amount came up, which could be used as a loan to Ukraine, which will, of course, never be repaid, but which is to be guaranteed by the individual member states of the European Union. Japan also has some frozen Russian assets. It is evident that the prime ministers of the member states of the Union are fully aware of the huge risks associated with the confiscation of frozen Russian assets for Ukrainian needs, the risks of violations of international law, the risks of lawsuits by Russia, but above all the risks of harsh Russian retaliation. I consider it a huge mistake that the proposal to confiscate frozen Russian assets for Ukraine appeared in the public domain even before the Commission had provided answers to all the possible risks mentioned above. This piece of Russian cheese, however, smells very much of European raven. Expectations of the confiscation of frozen Russian assets are huge, but they may hit reality at the next European Council in December, when the decision is due to be taken, and end in fiasco. That is why I have also suggested that the possibility of confiscation should not be mentioned in today's conclusions, and that the Commission should also propose other options for financing Ukraine in the next 2 years. My proposal was accepted.
Is Belgium about to hand over 140 billion euros of Russian assets? What did you discuss with Volodymyr Zelensky today?
This is not Belgian money, meaning it is not known. We are talking about frozen financial assets of Russia, specifically the central bank, the Russian bank. All the while the debate continues because, as the Belgian Prime Minister rightly pointed out, Belgium has most of this at home in its banks, which is why it is so vulnerable. Until now, no one in the world has ever taken such a decision, and that you need to be well prepared for it because there may be consequences. Belgium is afraid that all the responsibility will fall on it, so we are trying to convince our Belgian friends that we are ready to build a mechanism for joint, pan-European responsibility. Of course, as always, Viktor Orban is against it, just as he was against any conclusion regarding Ukraine. It's like it's already stopped, it's not even there anymore. That mask has long since come off, but he doesn't even pretend anymore. What is his point about the Russian-Ukrainian war? Too bad. Well, but all in all, we are probably not surprised. We still will. Later tonight, we will discuss these two aspects and the frozen assets and the loan, which is a little less arousing less excitement about the project. But it would be premature to say today that Belgium, and also Luxembourg, has been 100% convinced. But there is quite clear progress. What is important, not only from my point of view but also from the Ukrainian point of view and actually the whole European Union and NATO, is that we stop talking about it either. And that is our intention. And I think there is a chance for this intention to come true. The European Council is in December, and that must be the deadline for a decision, yes or no. Well, not to play with emotions, either, because Ukraine will not win the war or defend itself against Russia without financial support, and there are too many alternative sources in sight. So, of course, it would be better for everyone, in my opinion, if they would. If all countries decided to do this, it would be fair. Between you and me, if that money was taken away from Russia and used to rebuild Ukraine or to fund Ukraine's defense, because those are the two purposes. But at the moment, I can't yet say how it will turn out. We discussed various issues with President Zelensky. I don't want to talk about some of the details because they involve some technical aspects of cooperation and support.